What happens when a struggling single dad hires what he thinks is just another college babysitter, only to discover she's worth more money than he'll ever see in 10 lifetimes? This story will blow your mind. Today I'm going to tell you about Marcus, a single father who was drowning in debt and desperately needed help with his twin daughters. He thought he found the perfect babysitter, a sweet, humble girl who charged way less than anyone else. But what he didn't know was that this broke college student was actually Emma Richardson, daughter of tech billionaire William Richardson, and she was about to turn his entire world upside down in ways he never imagined. Marcus Thompson was living every single parent's nightmare. After his wife died in a car accident 2 years ago, he was left to raise his 4-year-old twin daughters, Lily and Rose, all by himself. Working 2 jobs, one as a mechanic during the day and another stocking shelves at night, he was barely making ends meet. The medical bills from his wife's accident had piled up like a mountain he couldn't climb. His credit cards were maxed out, rent was 3 months behind, and the landlord was getting impatient. But the worst part? He barely saw his girls anymore because he was always working. His elderly neighbor Mrs. Patterson had been watching the twins for free, but her arthritis was getting worse and she couldn't keep up with 2 energetic 4-year-olds. Marcus knew he needed help, but professional babysitters in his area charged $15 to $20 an hour. On his salary, that might as well have been $1,000. That's when he posted a desperate ad on the community college bulletin board: "Single dad needs reliable babysitter for twin girls. Can only pay $8 an hour. Please help." Most people walked right past that ad. Who would work for $8 an hour when you could make double that anywhere else? But then Emma saw it. Emma Richardson was not your typical 22-year-old. While most people her age were worried about student loans and part-time jobs, Emma was secretly the heir to a tech empire worth $12 billion. Her father, William Richardson, had built Richardson Technologies from nothing into one of the biggest companies in the world. But here's the thing about Emma: she hated her privileged life. She was tired of people only being nice to her because of her money. She was sick of never knowing if someone actually liked her or just wanted access to her trust fund. So she made a decision that shocked everyone who knew her. She decided to live like a normal person. Emma rented a tiny apartment near the college using a fake name. She got a part-time job at a coffee shop. She drove an old Honda Civic instead of the Mercedes her dad bought her. And when she saw Marcus's ad on that bulletin board, something inside her heart just clicked. Here was someone who really needed help. Someone who wasn't trying to use her or impress her. Someone who had no idea who she really was. She called Marcus that same day. "Hi, I saw your ad about babysitting," Emma said, trying to make her voice sound casual. "I'm Emma, and I'd love to help with your daughters." Marcus was surprised. Most of the calls he'd gotten were from people who hung up the second he mentioned $8 an hour. But Emma seemed genuinely interested. "Are you sure about the pay?" Marcus asked. "I know it's not much, but it's honestly all I can afford right now." "That's totally fine," Emma replied. "I just love kids, and I could use some extra spending money." What Marcus didn't know was that Emma's spending money budget for that month was more than he made in a year. When Emma showed up at Marcus's small apartment the next day, she looked exactly like what you'd expect from a broke college student. She wore old jeans with holes in them, a faded t-shirt, and carried a backpack that looked like it had seen better days. The apartment was tiny, just 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a kitchen that was barely big enough for 2 people. Toys were scattered everywhere, and Marcus looked exhausted as he tried to clean up while getting ready for work. "Sorry about the mess," Marcus said, clearly embarrassed. "I try to keep it clean, but with 2 4-year-olds. "Don't worry about it," Emma smiled. "Kids are supposed to be messy. That means they're having fun." Then Lily and Rose came running out of their room, and Emma's heart just melted. They were identical twins with curly blonde hair and the biggest brown eyes she'd ever seen. Their clothes were clean but clearly hand-me-downs, and their shoes were worn but well-maintained. "Girls, this is Emma," Marcus said. "She's going to watch you while Daddy goes to work." The twins were shy at first, hiding behind their father's legs. But Emma got down to their level and pulled out a small bag from her backpack. "I brought some stickers," she said quietly. "Do you guys like stickers?" That's all it took. Within minutes, Lily and Rose were showing Emma all their toys and chattering away like they'd known her forever. Marcus watched this happen with amazement. His daughters were usually pretty cautious around new people, but they took to Emma immediately. "I have to go," Marcus said reluctantly. "Their bedtime is 8 o'clock. There's some mac and cheese in the fridge for dinner, and my number is on the refrigerator if you need anything." "We'll be fine," Emma assured him. "Take your time." As Marcus walked to his beat-up Honda Accord, he felt something he hadn't felt in months: hope. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to look up. Over the next few weeks, Emma became part of the family. She would show up every day after Marcus left for his first job and stay until he got home from his second job around 11 at night. But Emma wasn't just babysitting, she was transforming their lives in small ways that Marcus didn't even notice at first. She started bringing leftover groceries from her job at the coffee shop. High-quality organic food that the twins had never tasted before. She brought art supplies that she claimed she'd got on sale. She even brought new clothes for the girls, saying her roommate was cleaning out her closet. Marcus was grateful but also confused. What coffee shop gives away organic vegetables and designer children's clothes? Emma also started teaching the twins things that Marcus didn't have time for. She helped them with their letters and numbers. She read them stories every night. She took them to the park and played games that helped develop their motor skills. The girls absolutely adored her. They would wait by the window every morning for Miss Emma to arrive. They drew her pictures and made her crafts. For the first time since their mother died, Lily and Rose were truly happy. And Marcus? He was falling for Emma hard, even though he knew he shouldn't. Here he was, a broke single dad with more problems than solutions, and she was this amazing woman who was incredible with his daughters. But what could he possibly offer her? He lived paycheck to paycheck while she was in college, probably with a bright future ahead of her. He had no idea that Emma was falling for him too. Emma had never experienced anything like this before. In her world of private jets and five-star restaurants, everyone wanted something from her. But Marcus never asked for anything. He paid her exactly what he promised, thanked her every single day, and treated her with more genuine respect than most millionaires had ever shown her. She loved how he tucked his daughters in every single night, no matter how tired he was. She loved how he saved up for weeks just to buy them a small toy. She loved how he read parenting books from the library because he wanted to be the best father possible. Marcus was real in a way that no one in Emma's life had ever been real. But the lies were eating her alive. Every time Marcus apologized for not being able to pay her more, Emma wanted to tell him that money didn't matter. Every time he talked about his financial stress, she wanted to help. But how could she explain that she could solve all his problems with a single phone call? She started leaving anonymous gifts. A grocery store gift card found on the sidewalk. An envelope with cash and a note saying it was from a satisfied customer at Marcus's mechanic shop. Toy store coupons that came in the mail by mistake. Marcus was suspicious but desperate enough to accept these mysterious gifts. He figured someone in the neighborhood was trying to help out, and he was too proud to look too closely at good luck when it finally showed up. Everything changed on a rainy Tuesday in November. Marcus came home from work to find Emma sitting at the kitchen table with the twins, all of them looking upset. Lily and Rose ran to their father immediately. "Daddy, the mean man came back," Lily said, her eyes full of tears. Marcus's stomach dropped. "What mean man?" Emma looked uncomfortable. "The landlord stopped by around 6, she said quietly. "He was pretty angry. He said some things that scared the girls. Marcus closed his eyes. He'd been dreading this moment for weeks. What did he say? He said you have 3 days to pay everything you owe or he's going to make you move out, Emma replied. Marcus, how much do you owe? Marcus sank into a chair and put his head in his hands. $4,200, he whispered. 4 months of back rent. Emma's heart broke watching this proud man crumble in front of his daughters. She wanted to write a check right then and there, but she knew that would raise questions she wasn't ready to answer. There has to be something we can do, Emma said. Maybe if you talk to him. You don't understand, Marcus said, his voice cracking. I've been talking to him for months. I've given him everything I could spare. I sold everything we didn't absolutely need. I even sold my wife's wedding ring. That hit Emma like a punch to the gut. This man had sold his dead wife's wedding ring to try to keep a roof over his daughters' heads. If we get evicted, I don't know what we're going to do, Marcus continued. My credit is destroyed. No one will rent to me. We might end up in a shelter, and they could take the girls away. He couldn't finish the sentence. The twins didn't understand everything, but they could sense their father's fear. They climbed onto his lap and hugged him tight. Emma made a decision that would change everything. That night, after Marcus put the girls to bed, Emma knew she couldn't keep lying anymore. Marcus, she said carefully, what if I told you that I might be able to help with the rent money? Marcus looked up, confused. Emma, you're already helping so much. And I can't borrow money from you. You're a college student working at a coffee shop. You don't have that kind of money. Emma took a deep breath. What if I did? What do you mean? Emma pulled out her phone and showed him something that made his jaw drop. It was a bank account balance with more zeros than he'd ever seen in his life. I haven't been completely honest with you, Emma said quietly. My name is Emma Richardson. My father is William Richardson, the CEO of Richardson Technologies. I'm worth more money than you could spend in several lifetimes. Marcus stared at the phone, then at Emma, then back at the phone. This is a joke, right? He said finally. Emma shook her head. I know this is crazy, but I can prove it. She made a quick phone call, and within 10 minutes, a black car pulled up outside their building. A man in an expensive suit got out and came to the door. Ms. Richardson, he said formally, your father sent me to check on you. He's been worried since you haven't returned his calls. Marcus looked back and forth between Emma and the man like he was watching a tennis match. Thank you, James, Emma said. Please tell my father I'm fine and I'll call him tomorrow. After James left, Marcus sank onto the couch in shock. You're a billionaire, he said slowly. Technically, my father is. But yes, I have access to more money than I could ever need. And you've been working as my babysitter for $8 an hour. Yes. Marcus was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. Why? Emma sat down next to Marcus and told him everything. About growing up surrounded by fake friends and people who only wanted her money. About feeling trapped in a life of luxury that felt like a beautiful prison. About wanting to experience what it was like to be valued for who she was, not what she had. When I saw your ad on that bulletin board, it was like a door opened, she said. Here was someone who needed help, who would appreciate kindness without expecting it. Someone who would treat me like a normal person. But you lied to me, Marcus said, and Emma could hear the hurt in his voice. I know, and I'm sorry. But Marcus, these past 2 months have been the happiest of my entire life. Watching you be such an amazing father, seeing how much you love those girls, being part of a real family for the first time ever. I didn't want it to end. Marcus stood up and started pacing. So what happens now? You write me a check and go back to your mansion? That's not what I want, Emma said firmly. What I want is to keep being part of this family. What I want is to help you not because I have money, but because I love you." Marcus stopped pacing. "What did you say?" Emma's cheeks turned red, but she didn't back down. "I said I love you, Marcus. I love you and I love Lily and Rose. I know this situation is crazy, but that doesn't make my feelings any less real." Marcus sat back down and looked at Emma, really looked at her. She was still the same person who had played with his daughters every day for 2 months. She was still the woman who had brought them groceries when she thought they needed food. She was still the person who had read bedtime stories and helped with homework and made his children laugh. The money didn't change who she was inside. "I love you too," he said quietly. "But Emma, our lives are so different. You're used to private jets and fancy restaurants. I clip coupons and shop at thrift stores. Do you think I care about any of that?" Emma asked. "Marcus, I've eaten at every expensive restaurant in the world, and none of them made me as happy as eating mac and cheese with you and the girls. I've traveled to every exotic place you can imagine, but the best part of my day is sitting on this old couch reading stories to Lily and Rose." She took his hands in hers. "I don't want the fancy life anymore. I want this life. I want us." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. "What about your father? Your family? They're not going to approve of you being with a broke mechanic." Emma smiled. "Let me worry about my father. Besides, you're not going to be broke much longer." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I've been thinking about this for weeks. My father has been trying to get me to take a more active role in the company. What if we started a foundation together? Something focused on helping single parents and families in crisis. You understand these problems better than anyone." Marcus's eyes widened. "You mean?" "I mean, what if we could help other families the way I wish I could have helped you from the beginning? You could run the day-to-day operations. You understand what it's like to struggle, what families really need. And I could provide the funding and business connections." It was an incredible offer, but Marcus still looked uncertain. "Emma, that sounds amazing, but I don't know anything about running a foundation." "You know the most important thing," Emma said. "You know what it feels like to love your children more than anything in the world and to worry that you can't give them what they need. That's worth more than any business degree." 6 months later, the Thompson-Richardson Foundation was helping over 200 families in their city alone. Marcus had thrown himself into the work with the same passion he'd brought to caring for his daughters, and Emma had never seen him happier. The foundation provided emergency financial assistance, childcare services, job training, and family counseling. But more than that, it treated people with dignity and respect, understanding that anyone could find themselves in a difficult situation through no fault of their own. Marcus and Emma had gotten married in a small ceremony in the park where Emma used to take Lily and Rose. The twins were flower girls, and they couldn't have been more excited to officially have Emma as their mom. Emma's father had been skeptical at first, but after meeting Marcus and seeing how happy his daughter was, he'd become one of their biggest supporters. He even provided additional funding for the foundation and helped Marcus learn the business side of running a nonprofit. The family lived in a modest house in a good neighborhood, not a mansion, but not a tiny apartment either. Emma had insisted on something that felt like a real home, not a showplace. "Do you ever miss it?" Marcus asked one evening as they watched Lily and Rose play in their backyard. "The luxury, the glamour, all of that?" Emma leaned against her husband and smiled. "I miss absolutely nothing about that life. This is everything I ever wanted and more than I ever dreamed I could have." The story of Marcus and Emma spread throughout their community and eventually made national news. Here was a billionaire heiress who had given up everything to live authentically, and a single father who had shown that love and determination could overcome any obstacle. But the real impact was in the lives they touched through their foundation. Families who were on the brink of homelessness were able to get back on their feet. Single parents found the support they needed to keep their families together. Children got access to education and opportunities they never would have had otherwise. Emma often thought about that bulletin board at the community college where it all started. Such a small thing, a desperate ad from a struggling father, had led to all of this. She kept a copy of that original ad in her office at the foundation, framed and hanging on the wall. It reminded her that sometimes the most important moments in life come disguised as ordinary days. And Marcus? He never got tired of telling people that the best thing he ever did was put up that ad asking for help. Because sometimes, when you're brave enough to ask for what you need, the universe sends you exactly what you didn't even know you were looking for. This story shows us that real wealth isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in love, authenticity, and the connections we make with others. Emma had billions of dollars but felt poor until she found a family that valued her for who she was. Marcus had almost nothing but was rich in the things that truly matter, love for his children and the strength to keep fighting for them. Sometimes the people who seem to have everything are actually searching for the same basic human needs we all want, to be loved, to belong, and to make a difference in the world. And sometimes the people who seem to have the least actually have the most to offer. The next time you see someone asking for help, remember Marcus and Emma. You never know who might be hiding behind that request, and you never know how a simple act of kindness might change both of your lives forever. Don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories that prove love always finds a way.